Hi, I'm Melanie Brown. Welcome to Finding the Word. Today's word is rest. This is about the situation that had occurred with my mom. She had to go in for a procedure on her heart. They were dealing with a valve. Pretty customary procedure. They said that also there was going to be a possibility they were going to have to put in a stent. They would have to, find out once they got in there. So she did have the procedure done. It seemed to be going well. They did have to put the stent in, but when it was over, my sister called, she was going to let me know everything was okay. I was actually about an hour away, a little over an hour away at that time. I was coming in to just, be there for support and just hang out with her that night while she recovered. And she was supposed to be able to come home within maybe the next day. So anyways, I'm on the phone. She's like, okay, she's out. It went okay. But then all of a sudden my mom starts like throwing up blood, and my sister freaks out and she's like calling the lady comes in, they take her back to recovery. So they had to put her back under to find out why she was bleeding from wherever, and it turned out it was actually not from the source of any of the work they have done. There were what they call blebs, these places where from the tube that was running, it caused some damage to her throat. So those were bleeding, and that's where it was coming from. But they kept her under because they thought if there's any more complications, we really can't keep pulling this tube in and out, and we can't, it's better we just leave it now in case. And due to that, she was under for a few days, which created more issues than we realized it would for being under that long. It causes, especially in older people. So that was a whole thing. But the issue with and where the rest was coming in was, after she did come out and she did rest through that, and then they brought her out and it was like, okay, she should be fine. This is her, she's going to have to be heavily monitored still. So my sister couldn't really rest. And this is where it's coming in. It was time to kind of lay down. We had gone to the room that's down the hall from the unit to be able to have, spend the night. And while we were in there, it was like, oh, what about this? What could be going on? She couldn't really get to sleep. So I was like, well, I'm sure she's fine. They'll let us know. She's like, yeah, but I can't really rest. So I said, okay. Well, so she called and she was talking with the nurse that was on duty. The nurse on duty proceeds to give a list of things, a few things that she was saying. Well, the device that catches the urine is empty. So I don't know what's going on, but she's been given so many fluids, but there's no urine. Then she says, it seems to have a temperature. And a little temperature. So I don't know. We got to ask the doctor about this. Her blood pressures are kind of high. So my sister's she's starting to spiral, and she's saying the things to me. And I'm like, wait, what is this? And my husband works with kidney patients. So I'm thinking, okay, her kidneys, this has got to be something to do with, so because if you're not urinating, what are her kidneys? You're thinking they're shutting down. So, and then she has a fever. Okay, that's infection or something from her kidneys. We're just, we're starting to go there. Well, but then I was like, the Spirit was speaking. He was saying, everything that appears a certain way is not truth. So you have to be careful. They have not said anything to you about these things. You're beginning to leave your place of rest based on coming up with ideas. None of it can be as it appears. So I told this to my sister, and I was like, wait a minute. This is not truth. She's stating things, but we don't want to state things that are not true based on those things. That's not what she said. She just said there's no urine in there. She just said she could have a temperature. We don't need to go to infections. We don't need to go with kidney issues. We don't need to go with her blood pressure's up. She's spiraling. She's like, but look at what they're saying. I'm like, doesn't matter what they're saying. And rest doesn't come because of what someone's telling you. The rest is in the Lord and the fact that He's in control of the situation. So we just went, there was still the struggle. So I went on and I said, well, we're done with the conversation at that point, because what else are you going to say? We got to wait it out. In the morning, we'll see what's going on. We need to be able to get rest this evening. So the next morning, there's another nurse on duty. And of course, it's like, oh, okay, let's find out what's going on. Let's see. No one called us through the night. She must be okay, This particular nurse says, oh, you know what? There was no problem with her urinating because we're telling her the concerns that had been brought to us, and she was seeming confused. She said, well, when I came on duty, there was no issue. I did find that the machine had malfunctioned, and so all of the urine was in her bed. Her kidneys are working fine. She said, we didn't discover it until we went to change, the bedding. Then she said, I wouldn't even call that a temperature. I'm not sure why she said that. This is normal range. And also our blood pressure is too. We've got to work on adjusting that anyway because she just had surgery. So we're just kind of looking at each other, and I was like, see, like it really confirmed. And I love those confirmations. When the Spirit says something to you, like rest, God has this, or the Spirit's saying nothing that they're saying as it appears is truth. Don't receive it. We have to learn to stand in what the Spirit is saying and what God has said, not what it looks like or appears or what is being stated. Even when people really believe what they're saying is true, we have to know who we believe. So the word rest in the scripture is in Matthew. This one, the Greek word is
Strong's G373. Anapao.
All right, and an apau is to cause or permit one to cease from any movement or labor in order to recover and collect his strength, to give rest, refresh, to give oneself rest, take rest. This one, the third one, to keep quiet, of calm and patient expectation. That definition really gives you pause, because sometimes when you're not at rest, you're not quiet, you don't think about it, but you're having a whole lot of conversations. You're calling everybody, oh my God, this and that, they said this, they said that, and you're constantly talking about what's being said. That's not a patient expectation. The expectation being the word, that's great. Rest has a patient expectation and calm expectation. So the scripture is Matthew 11, and it is, I'm reading verses 25 through 30, and rest is in verses 28 and 29. And this is Jesus' prayer of thanksgiving. And it reads, at that time, Jesus prayed this prayer, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, thank you for hiding these things from those who think themselves wise and clever, and for revealing them to the childlike. Yes, Father, it pleased you to do it this way. My Father has entrusted everything to me. No one truly knows the Son except the Father, and no one truly knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Then Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light. And that was exactly where we really were. It felt like it was heavy. And really we have to give it to the Lord. Like, okay, just take care of her, that we're not in control of this part. So we can find rest. Just because things appear to be a certain way does not mean it is truth. Whatever God is saying to you, stand in that truth and find rest in that. So don't forget to find the word, and I will see you tomorrow.